What's up, guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. We've got about 2 to 3 hours until our flight out of Florida. We just got called for the 5-10 game. Let's mix it up. Hopefully enjoy this one.
Hey everyone, it's your boy Ethan, and before we get into the video, I have a really cool announcement to make with Jonathan Little and his website pokercoaching.com. I've been finally getting some training and coaching for online poker and tournaments, and their website has been extremely helpful. They've been generous enough to offer an exclusive giveaway to specifically you guys who watch the channel. They're giving away $1,000 in cash, a full year subscription to pokercoaching.com, which is a $1,200 offer, and last but not least, a one-on-one coaching session with Jonathan Little himself, all for free. All you have to do is click the link in the description below and sign up using your email address. Along with that, everyone who enters their email will also receive a free copy of their tournament masterclass. It's a really great offer by them, and I highly recommend it as their content so far has really been able to improve my game. So click the link below, sign up for that, and thank you to Jonathan Little and pokercoaching.com for the offer to you guys, and let's get back into the video.
With about 2 to 3 hours left to board our flight out of Florida, no better time to hop into a brand new 5-10 game. Let's do it. Early on, we pick up ace queen offsuit under the gun playing 7-handed here. I open up the action to $40. We get the +1 player to my left to make the call. Now the cutoff 3-bets to 160 and action folds to me. Got to put him on a strong 3-betting holding as he is 3-betting the under the gun opener, which is me. Anyways, when it folds to me, easy defend and call as it's very playable, and now the +1 calls as well. So 3 ways out of position. The flop comes 9-8-5 rainbow, not really the board we're looking for, so I check, +1 player checks, and the cutoff throws out a bet of 160. Obviously, when we totally whiff on this board, we're just going to get out of the way and fold here with ace high, but action continues as the +1 player makes the call. So let's just see what happens on the turn. The turn comes a 3, and here on this card, action goes check, check. And the river comes the 7 of spades. The +1 player throws out a bet of $350 with 4 to a straight on the board. The cutoff thinks for a while and ultimately decides on a call. The +1 player shows us ace 10 of spades for ace high. Cutoff shows pocket jacks, and jacks are going to take it down. First hand in, we've got some action here. The very next deal, we're in the big blind with queen jack of clubs. There's an under the gun open to $25. +1 makes the call. Action folds to me. We're out of position. Although the under the gun player did open very, very small, I decided on just flatting and seeing a flop. The flop comes queen 9-7 rainbow, and with top pair, obviously great board for us. Unfortunately, action checks all the way around. The turn comes the 4 of spades. Now very confident in my hand. I throw out a bet of $50 for value, and surprisingly, under the gun calls, and so does the +1 player, so not sure how both of them have a hand good enough to call a bet, but here we are. The river is the deuce of clubs, a total brick, and in my mind, for some reason, I thought that sizing big here would be good to maybe get 9x to bluff catch. This logic seems really, really flawed and horrible, but anyways, we just go for it as played. I bet $175, confident in my pair of queens, but all folds, and I think that we played this river pretty terribly. Probably should have just bet a little bit smaller to get value, but we just pushed both of them off their hand. This one is quite the doozy with pocket jacks in the hijack. Under the gun, first to act opens to $35. Next to act in +1 3-bets to $135. Really, really large sizing here, and against this configuration, I'm really not sure what to do here. I think flatting in position is okay, and against such a massive 3-bet, I guess flatting just kind of lets us try to set mine with pocket jacks, which really isn't the best way to play this hand. Also, I think this hand is definitely good enough to 4-bet sometimes, but against this configuration where both players have the strongest ranges, it's going to be a little ambitious. Anyways, I do size to a 4-bet, and we size small to $275. Essentially a min 4-bet here. Action folds around, under the gun player folds, now back to the +1 player, and he says 275 is too small. He 5-bets in another large sizing to $775. This is massive and huge, and I guess one of the good things about 4-betting small is that we do get a lot of value and information as to what he's holding. Obviously, pocket jacks against a 5-betting range is not doing too well, and we're just going to have to fold this one pre-flop and move on. The very next deal, we pick up pocket nines, another very playable hand. We're in the low jack here, and I decide to open this up to $40. Then the cutoff, 3 bets to 100. And then next to act the button, 4 bets to 300. Goodness gracious, what the hell is going on this table, man? With pocket nines, we're out of position against both players. I am forced to fold this one, only committed $40 in there. So I fold, and the cutoff makes the call, so we get to see a flop and hypothetically sweat this one out. The flop comes ace 9-3 rainbow. Of course it does. Action goes check on this flop, and the turn comes a 10. Cutoff throws out a bet of $400. The button folds, cutoff shows ace king, and we could have just stacked him really easily there, unfortunately, and doubled up. But 19 minutes into our session, we are getting very much involved and seeing a lot of action on this must-move game. Sadly, the must-move game has to come to an end as I am moved to the main 5-10. This game actually looks a little bit better as well, with $25 straddles and some loose play going on. So here, one of the first playable hands of the main game, pocket jacks in the cutoff, and there's a button straddle to $25. Action folds to me in the cutoff, and I've seen this button player play a really wide range, like 9-4 suited, so I'm gonna still go with a standard 4x to $100. This player makes the call. The flop comes queen 5 deuce rainbow, and on a very dry board, 1 card over our pair. Not too concerned, I just check, allow him to bluff at it, as he can hold pretty much any 2. This player checks back. The turn is an 8, so definitely have to go for value now. Not sure what I'm targeting, but we throw out $75, and this player likes his cards. He makes the call pretty quickly. The river is now a 6. It doesn't change a whole lot, and I guess me betting is just hoping he has an 8x holding. I bet out $200, and this player pretty quickly calls once again. I show my pocket jacks, assuming they're good. He mucks, and taking down the first pot here in this main game. In this next spot, things are going to get a little crazy. In this hand with ace queen offsuit in the big blind, there are 5 whole limpers to me. Sitting with a pretty good hand, we're out of position. We're certainly going to be sizing up with all of these limpers. I raise things up to $135. And well, unexpectedly, the undergun limper calls, the low jack limper calls, and so does the hijack. So we're going to a pretty decent sized pot here early on, going to a flop 4 ways. The flop comes king, deuce, deuce, rainbow, and well, on this board texture, really hate bluffing into 3 other players out of position, but here we are, doing so on this board. I throw out a bet of $190, and 2 of the 3 players fold really quickly. The undergun and low jack release their cards, but the hijack ruins our plans, makes the call for $190. We were so close to getting this through. Anyways, the turn now comes a 9. And for the same reasons that I did bet on this flop here, I should have all the stronger king X's in range, so let's just try to continue telling our story. I throw out a bet of $350. This player thinks not too long and makes the call again. Not feeling great at this point. His probable holdings are king X's, but we'll see a river. The river is another deuce, so now this eliminates pretty much every single combination of deuce X, and all king X's have to call. I'm really iffy about bluffing this, but like really trying to talk myself into a bluff because maybe somehow he can fold a hand like pocket 8s, 9x, pocket 10s. I don't know, but this is ambitious. We ambitiously throw out a bet of $900, and this player just pretty much insta snap calls it, unfortunately. We sheepishly show our trash ace queen high, and this player shows us king 5 of spades. So I never really saw king 5 in range, but I should have seen a king in his hand. This one hurt quite a lot. No time to be frustrated over that hand. The very next shuffle, we pick up ace deuce offsuit in the small blind, and we reloaded back to $2,500 starting in stack. Action folds to me, so we're playing blind versus blind. I do have an ace, not a great one though, so I decide to limp. The big blind puts in a raise to $50, $60, and here, blind versus blind with an ace, I'm gonna make the call and see what happens. The flop comes 3, 4, 5, 2 clubs. This is amazing. This is redemption from last hand, hopefully. So here, flopping the straight, I check. He sadly checks back. The turn now comes a king, and here for a second time, I decide to check, go for that sneaky check raise. Here, this time, he takes the bait and bets out $50. $50 here, it's a little too small. Let's try to go for more. I check raise to $200, and this player thinks about it for not too long before tossing in chips for a call. Let's see a river. The river is the 10 of clubs, and not amazing as the front door flush gets there, but I don't think it matters too much. We block the nut flush, and it's just trying to get value from maybe king X holdings or 2 pair holdings. So I size up and bet 500. Going for a really large sizing, trying to make up for that last hand where we punted off money. He thinks about it for not too long before ripping his entire stack in there for around $850 total. It's $350 more to me. We're sitting with the straight. We're never folding. I snap it off, and this player shows us ace king. It's really nice to get a little bit of a rebate back immediately. So we take this one down and chip back up after our punt. If you're looking for big pots in this video, this is one to pay attention to. With king jack offsuit under the gun, we're playing 6-handed, and there's a $25 button straddle. The blinds fold to me, and I decide to open this up to $100 for X. The player to my left makes the call, and the button makes the call as well. This button player is the guy with king 5 earlier, so he's definitely got a huge stack and definitely playing a wide range. 3 ways the flop comes: king, 10, 3, 2 spades, and here king high boards. We're certainly going to put in that c-bet, so I bet out 125. The player to my left folds, and now onto the button player, and he does something interesting. He puts in that raise to 4 black chips of $400. This is the person that I said can play a wide range and can almost play any 2. But here, out of position, it's not amazing, but I'm definitely not folding ever here in this spot. We have a backdoor straight and flush draws, so obviously we're going to make the call and see a turn. The turn is the ace of spades. Oh, what an action card this is. With the king of spades in hand, I check. Now he throws out a really large bet of $900. I'm never folding in this spot, you know that. With this massive size, it really handcuffs me to very limited options here. I count out my stack, trying to figure out how much I have in front of me. Looks like we have about $3,100, and calling here seems a little reasonable, but obviously it feels a little bit like a punt as we're going to play our hand very face up to a river with a very small SPR. So jamming actually seems like a pretty good option here, as we have a lot of equity against hands that we're beating, and there's a chance that we might be ahead as well with a pair of kings, and he's trying to apply pressure with a number of different hands. So jamming $3,000 in as a bluff is really nerve-wracking, but it seems like the right play, and we don't play 5-10 to play scared. Gotta stick to our game and go with what feels right in our head. So we go with our guts, rip it all in, and we get an immediate answer. He snaps it off. Oh my god, that might be the worst feeling in the world to rip 3K in as a bluff and get snapped off. The feeling of going with our gut goes straight to the floor, and this player looks at us and asks to run it twice. I am obviously very indifferent, and honestly, I'm very happy to do so when we're just doing this as a bluff. So always agreeable with whatever. So we're going to 2 different rivers in a massive, massive pot. The first river comes the deuce of spades, so it's nice to lock up one of them with the nuts on the first board. The second river is the 4 of diamonds, so it seems like we're going to be chopping this. I show my king of spades, and he shows 8-5 of spades for the turned flush. So we were way ahead on the flop, then way behind on the turn, and I guess I'm lucky to chop it up, even though we could have gotten there on the first run out. What a absolutely ridiculous hand that ended in a very anticlimactic way. Obviously, result-oriented wise, we could have just ran it once, but obviously happy to end this pot up with still chips in our stack. One big hand followed by another, this time pocket nines under the gun, and I raise things up to $40. We get the hijack and cutoff to make the call, and action central here again. The button 3-bets to 165. Action folds to me, and honestly, this is a pretty small sizing given how many players are involved. I'm happy with it though, as we're out of position. I'm happy to call the set mine, so I make the call, only the cutoff calls, and we're all about $3,000 deep. Let's go to a flop. The flop comes 6, 7, 3, 2 hearts, myself and the cutoff check in flow. The button thinks for a while, and with our overpair here, I think we just might have to call one if he does c-bets, but he decides on checking back, so now feeling pretty good about our hand at this point. Even better, the turn is the 9 of hearts. We feel a little bit better about my hand now with top set. Although there are plenty of draws out there with 3 hearts, there's an open-ended draw with any 8. Out of position, I think we just have to protect our hand against 1 heart holdings. So quickly, I throw out a bet of $375. Sadly, both players fold, so Still happy to take it down as these 3-bet pots can get fairly big. In this next spot, there's a cutoff $25 straddle, and I'm on the button with pocket sevens. First to act in this spot, and here definitely going to raise it up, so I size to $100. Action folds around to the hijack player, who 3-bets to $425. The cutoff straddler folds, who started the mayhem, and now back to me. Like I said, these 3-bet pots can get pretty big, especially with the $25 straddle. So we're in position with pocket sevens, and I think I can really go either way with folding or calling. And as you know, if I have that decision, I'm going to deflect on a call. So we're in position on the button. I make the call, and let's go to a flop. The flop is King 9-3. Not really the best board for us. So when he throws out a bet of $275, unfortunately, I'm going to fold this one. We pretty much just lose $425 in this hand because of the straddle. Pretty large and pretty crazy to think about, considering that that is pretty much a 1-3 buy-in. So for one of the last hands of the session with our flight boarding soon, pocket kings in the hijack. Great sight to see, and I open things up to $40. Player to my left on the cutoff makes the call. The flop comes Queen 9-9 rainbow, and on this paired board, certainly going to size down, and I throw out a bet of $20. He thinks $20 is good enough for a call, so we're gonna see a turn, which is the jack of spades. Definitely going to be sizing up here to charge draws or whatever it may be. So I size up to $100, and once again, he makes the call. The river is the 4 of hearts, and this is just a brick city river for us, and now certainly going to be sizing up to bet big. I think we can get a lot of queen or even jack X holdings to call. So with that said, I bet out $300. It doesn't take too long for him to call, so we show our hand confident in this one, and we scoop this one. So always nice to end the session on a good note and chip up a little bit after losing a pretty big 3-bet pot the hand before. All right, guys, we are in a little bit of a time crunch. The game was really good, but I am currently driving to the airport right now. We have about an hour till boarding, and we've got to drop off the car and get through some security. But the game was really good. Anyways, we're definitely sweating out this right now, trying to race to the airport. But we're doing this outro. The game was really good. Good enough, I guess. I mean, a few of the players that were good for the game kind of busted, and then it got filled with a few pros that are definitely better than me. So I guess it's nice that we left at this time. But end of the day, the game played really big. Pretty much every other hand was a straddled pot, and it's a $25 straddle too. So that makes it big. We were in the game for 4,300, out of the game for 4,174. So a little bit of an L, but realistically that was just like one pre-flop raise on a straddled pot, like $100. So honestly, pretty much breaking even in that game. I'm happy with it, considering we did jam 3K as a bluff. Anyways, my voice is gone. This trip in Florida has been a huge bender, but hopefully enjoyed these videos. Hopefully I make it on time. But thank you so much for watching this video, and we've got more bangers to come. So subscribe if you're new to the channel. Drop that like if you made it this far. Really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.